My name is Christopher Speakman, and I am here to talk about my introduction to Martin Luther King, which happened June 14th, 1964, as King was invited by Glenn Olds, the president of Springfield College, to come and give the commencement address and to receive an honorary degree. This is Glenn Olds, who was from Oregon, and Martin Luther King is here, and this is my father, Cummins Speakman, who was the dean of the college, Springfield College, where the honorary degree was to be given to King. So the story is pretty complex in terms of the fact that I have the article from The Atlantic by a professor at Springfield College who has been working on a book, I believe, about this incident where the FBI was trying to stop King from coming to that commencement by calling up Glenn Olds, the president, and saying they had some very slanderous videos. They'd been tapping King's phone. They wanted to defame him and try to convince Glenn Olds not to allow him to come, which put Glenn Olds in a very difficult position because there were other important people that also thought that they wanted to defame King. And as we now know, J. Edgar Hoover was behind and allowing his guys to do research, do whatever they could by tapping his phones and filming him and everything so that they could try to bring him down. The final decision was made by Olds to bring King to Springfield College. And it was pretty difficult because King was in jail in Florida on the 13th of June, and he was released on a $900 bond. And he flew up to Springfield, and I have a form that shows his getting the size of his gown and the size of his cap for the ceremony. By the way, I attended the ceremony, the convocation, the commencement address. I was there, which as a young 13-year-old was a very impressive event. The very famous folk singer Pete Seeger performed for us all, and then King spoke. So my particular experience was that my father had my brother and my brother Jay Speakman, get in suit and tie at home, of course, and come to the president's house at Springfield College and stand in the garage. And eventually, the door opened and my father said, "Boys, come in." And we walked in, and immediately I was confronted with Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King sitting on a sofa with nobody next to him. I mean, over to my right were other VIPs. They had had their little schmoozing or whatever, and my dad just ushered me right over to Martin Luther King, and I put out my hand and he put out his hand, and I shook his hand, and I shook hands with Coretta Scott King, and pretty much that was it. But I'll have to tell you, I was filled with awe because in 1964, Martin Luther King was a huge personage in America and the civil rights movement.